Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you how I created this image in Blender. This video will not be a real-time tutorial series where I will be making it completely from scratch. Instead, this will be a step-by-step tutorial where I will show you the important points in the process, and you can do the rest by your own creativity. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Alright, so step 1. Delete the default cube. Obvious. Add in a path. I'll scale it up under path properties, geometry, and increase the depth. Next, step 2. Take the path and change it into any weird pattern that you want to create. Make it so that it's curvy, rotating in all directions, just that it looks interesting to you. If it looks interesting to you, then that's it. Alright, step 3. You will see in my image that it's not just a single bar, rather than there are multiple of these curves. What you need to do is just duplicate them under path, just decrease their depth a bit, and I'll move it on the Z axis, and you can now just change it and make it look a bit more interesting. That's it. I have hidden the rest of my patterns, and this is, you can see how many of them are there, and this is the end I got. So all these curves changed a bit from the original one, and now they look incredibly awesome. Alright, so step number 4. Select the main bar that you created originally and just give it an emission shader, nothing else, and I've just decreased the strength a bit or to 0.1. Now for the other materials that you see, they are red, blue, and just a random material that I created. So this is the setup. We have a mix shader with an emission and a transparent BSD of mixed. Then we have a color ramp to its factor. Now this whole thing over here is to add a randomness to every object. So you can use the same material, but it will be random for every object. Color ramp, Musgrave. This too is used to add breaks between the whole pipe. So if I go into the rendered view, you will see I have breaks over here, like this is one spot and this is another spot and a break between this. So this gives a very pleasing effect to the eye. And I added an object info with the add node, so it will add a random value to this mapping node, and that will give us a random material for every object. Might be the same colors but random. Now for the coloring, that is also random, by the way. Under emission, color, and the same process, just a color ramp with a range of colors. It's a pattern, as if you notice it, with the same Musgrave, add object info, random, mapping, and texture coordinate. Alright, so step number 5. What we need to do is just add some story element to the scene, because the curves alone didn't look very good. You can add a background as a story element, a character, which I did, both of them actually. So what I did was I just created this big plane over here that has this concrete material from bridge. I'll give it a link in the description, and I just duplicated that plane, went into edit mode, added 2 loops, and just pulled this 2 outwards. The next thing is what I added was this volume. It's pretty standard, so it's just a volume, the density of 0.020. It really helps spice up the image, and with fog everything looks better, trust me. So that's for the story element completely. And this character, the character is from Mixamo, and I posed it up a bit, making it look cool in front of the camera. Alright, step 6. Camera settings and render settings. Let's go. So I have the camera, this, and I made it portrait. It's 1020 by 1920. I haven't changed anything else except for the tiles of rendering, and I guess I have changed the light paths also. No, I haven't. They are still the same. You can reduce these. This will reduce the render times drastically. And there's nothing else that I have changed in the camera over here, nothing too. Only the thing is that I'm using the photographer add-on, which really gives me a lot of control over my camera, like shutter speed, the exposure already there, but still a lot more control over exposure. So these are the settings. I enabled exposure and it looks pretty good. So these are the settings. I changed it to manual. I changed the shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. Nothing else actually, only these 3. And what I did was I also added a depth of field, and I used the character as the depth of field. It's 0.7 on the f-stop. Now for the render settings, I already said a bit about it. Under The sampling, I'm just giving it a 128 standard, and under denoising I have the render as open image denoising and viewport also under open image denoising. The denoising, this denoising works actually pretty well, and it actually delivers pretty nice images. Like, with this many lights you are bound to have noise in your image, until and unless you set this to something like a crazy amount like 50,000, 100,000, who knows, it might not have noise then. Just saying. Step 7, editing. So I got this image from Blender, and now we will take it into DaVinci and make it look super cool. In DaVinci you can see I've already imported the image and I have brought it into my timeline. I've also brought some lens dirt from the Action VFX lens dirt pack, which is a very sweet lens dirt pack. And I also have this 35mm pack of noise, so this will give a very realistic look that rather than the sharp CG look. So first I have an adjustment layer with a bit of exposure settings and a vignette. I use the vignette to help the viewer draw its attention towards the character, and I also made the exposure contrast such that it brightens up the light a bit and makes it pop out from the image. Then I added the noise, and you can see it gives a bit of glow, but it also removes all the sharp CG look. It has the it simply has the screen mode with a bit of opacity. I might just increase it a bit, or even normal would work. I guess normal is better. And after that, what I did was I added 3 layers of lens dirt. So this also adds a new level of depth to the image, and after that the most of the magic happens, that is the color grading, and this just transforms the whole shot. So for the color grading, what I just had is just I shifted the shadow towards the blue, and I also did some editing on the contrast for this one too. So for the first adjustment clip I did some adjusting on the curve, and also for the second one I did some adjusting on the curves, and it turned out pretty cool. So that's for this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.